You're watching W33BY, Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan.
You've seen him on the red carpet, you've seen him on the sidelines, you've seen him on the stage. The hottest looks in urban fashion from the biggest name in urban fashion, Van Dykes. Now pick out 3, pay for 1. 3 suits for 1. Van Dykes, 10 Mile and Southfield Road. You've seen him at the clubs, you've seen him in the boardroom, you've seen him on the pulpit. Now get them at Van Dykes. 3 suits for 1. Suits for the workplace, for the club scene, to be seen in. Pick out 3, pay for 1. Van Dykes, 10 Mile and Southfield Road.
There is not another culinary or hospitality academy located in the city of Detroit.
There's a lot of people teaching culinary arts, but they're not teaching the business side of it.
We're opening up another kitchen for the Cleary Culinary Academy. We're going to bring a Cleary mind to every kitchen in downtown Detroit.
But when we talk about a Cleary mind, we're talking about a student that can make a definite impact.
We want to be a part of all the wonderful food establishments, restaurants, and the food scene in general in downtown Detroit.
I've always been interested in driving. When I was in the service, I drove a stick shift truck. After being retired, I got tired of sitting around. It's time for me to get back maneuvering something on the road. I'm back in school again, and I seen the sign out there, said truck CDL. I'm in school trying to get me an associate degree. One reason I quit school years ago, I'm slow learning. But once I learn things, I can pick it up, but I can pick more so up on hands-on. The technology is different for me. It's the difference between driving a straight back truck or a stick shift car. And the semi-truck amazes me. This is a program that advances knowledge. I'm determined to get an education. Get you a skill and a trade. Live life, enjoy it.
Say a little prayer for you, and I will always care for you. Hello, Detroit.
And once again, we thank you so much for being with us on this Saturday morning, 3 minutes after the hour. Jim Holley with you, and we thank God for each and every one of you. If you're just joining us, we basically, for the first hour, talked about we started out talking about that the cities that have the top cities where African Americans are doing very well, and then we begin to talk about also as to why we're not doing as well as we could be here in the city of Detroit. This hour, I want to spend some time on and get some ideas from you and what we need to think about in terms of our education for the city of Detroit, our public school system here in the city of Detroit. There's something that came out called that basically Detroit schools scores the worst in the nation again. And that whole thing about again just bothered me a lot. And obviously, my sister brother, seeing all of that, we got to make sure that we understand that we got a new superintendent and a new board, and we got to give them a chance to really turn this thing around. But again, the Detroit schools scores worse in the nation again. And of course, the headline indicated that the superintendent has vowed to change all of that. But here, just consider this, if you would, please. The fourth grade math, 4% of Detroit students scored at all above proficiency, compared with 36% statewide, 31 in large cities, and 40 nationwide. Also in the fourth grade reading, 5% of Detroit students scored at or above proficiency, compared to 32 statewide. In the eighth grade math, 5% of Detroit students scored at or above proficient. And in the 8th grade reading, 7% of Detroit students scored at the above proficiency. And of course, as I indicated to you, that they say that Detroit scores worse in the nation. Well, I'm just saying to you, it scores, but it's not the worst, because when it comes down to it, Louisiana is the worst. And New Mexico and West Virginia and District of Columbia, Mississippi, Arkansas, Alaska, Alabama, they saw much worse than we did. And so we say the worst, of course, is we came in 32. Michigan came in 32 in terms of the ranking, in terms of the what they call the worst public school ranking by state. And so the question again that I'm raising here, my sisters and brothers, is that what can we do? What can we do to really try to change this thing around? You know, and I'm trying to find my notes here, but I just feel like indeed that we ourselves, the community, got to do something to help the school board and the superintendent. What can we do? What can we do? I personally, to get this thing started, so we can have our conversation this morning, I personally think that every child should be in Head Start. Every child in Michigan, every child in urban America, in urban Michigan, should be in Head Start for a full day, not a half a day, but a full day. And then, of course, after Head Start, there should be preschool, and then kindergarten, and then to the first grade. And then we basically, in my humble opinion, that we should, for the most part, evaluate our children at the 3rd grade to see, because you need to be able to have your ABCs and count and some reading skills and all of that, because if you go beyond that, my sister, brother, that's where we're going to lose them, in my humble opinion. Now, I've been a teacher, so don't sit here and try to, put me down. You never, and obviously I haven't been one in a long time, but I've been a teacher, from elementary school. I did it in Chicago as a student. I did it in Chicago, and then and certainly here in the city of Detroit as well. But I'm just saying to you, my sisters and brothers, what can we do? Rather than to really this hawk and badmouth ourselves, what can we do? I think we ought to turn it around, and what can we do to be the best? What can we do to be the best? What can our parents do? And somehow, some kind of way, my sisters and brothers, we got to understand. I don't mean any harm. I don't mean any harm. We're just talking what we're talking about, and that is that many of our parents can't read, and our parents don't have literacy, and so how can they help the children that come home with homework or anything else? And so, should we not have programs after school, perhaps, where students can have a chance to work with tutors and all this kind of thing? What can we do? That's what I'm raising the question here. What can we, rather than just talk about how bad it is and the worst school and all of that? We understand that. We got the statistics. We got all of that, and the whys and the wheres. We got all of that. But the question is, what are we going to do about it? And what can we do to help the superintendent? What can we do to help the teachers? But my sister, there's no way in the world that a student should be able to get out of the 3rd grade and can't read and don't have math skills. It's just no way in the world that should happen. It just should not happen. And so obviously there's got to be some accountability all around. There's got to be accountability all around. I really think also for this conversation that we have, that we need to have social workers to go and deal with some of the stuff that's going on in our community, in our homes. You know, we need to have social workers dealing. These young people, you see, the thing about it is that you know, the classroom is not all of it. I mean, what you bring to the classroom has Junior, you want to check that for me? I'm just saying to you, what you bring to the class, before I get to the classroom, I got to deal with things at the house, got to deal with things in the community, got to deal with things on my way, and looking at the abandoned houses and all this kind of stuff. And so when I get, and then I'm hungry, I didn't have breakfast. And so I'm just saying to you, that indeed these are some of the things that plays into our education system. And obviously these statistics don't show this. Urban education for our children is a village. It is a village. It is the village. It is the home. It is the community, as well as in the classroom, as well as with the superintendent and the board and the teachers. Yes, but it is the village in the real sense, you know. And some of these, I mean, you got young people, my son brother, who basically they live from house to house, home to home, because of all kinds of stuff that's going on. They have to change districts or change schools because they have to move because of all the stuff that's going on. In terms, you can't pay the rent, and you get put out. In terms of domestic situations, you know. And I'm just saying to you, is how do we? It's a culture thing. It's really a culture thing that's built into this education system, in my humble opinion. And so I'm just saying to you at 12 minutes after the hour that we talk about this and what is it we can do. And I got like all 14 lines open, so I need you to be brief, full. So please be brief as possibly can. But I really know what do you think? Let's not deal with that we are the worst of this. Let's deal with the fact, how can we push ourselves to be the best? What do we need to do to be the best? If the superintendent was here today, and the board was here today, and of course they give you 2 or 3 minutes for open comment, and so I'm giving you 2 or 3 minutes for open comment. And what would it be that you can say what we need to do for our children? What do we need to do for our children? Caller, thank you so much. How are you?
Oh, good morning. How are you?
Just fine. Thank you for calling.
That's good. Well, you know, I contend, and I'm sure you do too, that the children in the city of Detroit are not dumb, or they're just as smart as any other child, but for the system that's been presented for them. Now, the elephant in the room, really, which isn't the elephant in the room, is what we should have done was voting. Because that person that we have sitting in Lansing right now, Governor Snyder, doesn't give a hoot about education, specifically about Detroit, but the whole state. That is not on his agenda. That is not his priority. Now, the Detroit public school system had a $1 billion budget and a $100 million surplus. And the state came in here and misappropriated the money, in other words, stole it. So without funds, you can't have a good education. We need funding. Now, I agree with you. The parents should be involved, etc., the kids and all the social issues. But once that kid, I don't care what kind of home that kid came from, once that kid enters those school doors, they should be offered the best education possible. That's the school's job, to provide them with the best education and the tools. But if you don't have the money, you can't get the tools. So our problem is we didn't vote like we should have and put somebody in office that has education as their priority. Instead, we put somebody in office by not voting who has his alliance with the corporate world. And the corporate world wants to keep you dumb so that you can work for them. So, you know, it's deep rooted. It has many prongs to it. But the main thing is the funding. We can't do a doggone thing if we don't have any money. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. We'll call you in touch. Hurry this morning.
Good. Reverend Holley, this is Deputy Chief.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, did I hear you say that nobody in city government can tell you or have knowledge of $150 million training program?
No, what I was saying was nobody told me it came in.
Okay. Yeah, okay. What this is, Reverend Holley, this pathway out of poverty, it's a program that's administered by the United States Department of Labor,
Right.
Employment, and Training Administration. And it totals $150 million.
Right.
And the different grantees received anywhere from $2 million to $8 million.
I understand it, Dave. I understand.
And like I say, you got an organization in Southwest Detroit that got $4 million.
And I'm telling you.
And the people that it served are returning citizens, unemployed, and high school dropouts.
And all Chief, I just want to know, did it do it? How did they do it? When did they do it? And who benefited from it? And indeed, why is it that somebody other than people look like me could get $4 million, and basically it's not in the center of Detroit? And that, how did they get it? Who recommended that? It came. So I'm going to. I got working on an appointment with the Department of Labor. I got somebody working on that for me, Senator Deborah Stevenov. I met with her yesterday, and so I'm going there to look at it myself and see if it's still possible to get some of that, to bring it to Detroit and have some Detroiters go after it. It's not about me. It's just trying to get the information, and if it's still there, Chief, that's all. And again, like I said, is that how is it that you get this kind of money here and you know nothing about it? And that I got people in Detroit returning citizens. I got people in Detroit who are illiterate. I got I'm not against Southwest Detroit or anything like that. I'm not against anything. I just want to know, how did they qualify for it? Who gave it to them? And if it was a grant possibility, then why didn't several of us, like Wayne County Community College, NAACP, Little Rock Baptist Church, why couldn't we also qualify or at least try to get that if it was there? That's the point. Caller, thank you for your patience. How are you this morning?
Yeah, on education that you were talking about, I agree with your description of the child's home before they get to school. So if that is not taken care of, then the education in the school won't. For example, if they have no lights at home, they can't do their homework. So anybody that says that the school can have education is absent of the conditions coming from the home is not thinking too good. The Bible says this: all cities that I went to, and I think the superintendent was in New Orleans. He was the superintendent down there. And they have all charter schools, and it failed totally. So it's over 4 decades in Detroit and the rest of the big cities to move out the black population. They attack the school system first. So if we don't understand how they attack the school system, at the same time cut off public assistance for the child at home. So if we don't understand that, we cannot do anything in education because have a social worker to come to a house when the lights are cut off and the social worker has can't get the lights on. Well, we're back again to square one. We can't deal with education unless we deal with the home. Okay. So we got to deal with the home, and why we are this way and we got to fight. Otherwise, go and talk about that. We had top schools in Detroit, but look what happened.
Yeah.
To change the whole city and move blacks out of Detroit, Chicago, Louisiana, they tax the school system. So if you don't understand that, we're just whistling this.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you so much. First of all, Tyrone, he didn't come from Louisiana. He came from Florida. He ran one of the best schools there in Florida, and that's the reason why we got him here in Detroit. And I'm just saying to you is that I was trying to find the district, but I just want you to know that I had it here. That it's not Louisiana, and it's in Florida. And as I said before, he had a wonderful reputation in Florida, and that he did a great job down there. And that's one of the reasons why they brought him here. So they didn't bring somebody that basically failed. They brought somebody here that was successful, and hopefully that he can turn this thing around. And all I'm saying to you is that, you know, that in its ship that you have somebody that basically that's the general of the ship, the captain of the ship, but he can't do it all by himself. You know, he's got the microphone or something and telling somebody to do this, turn this degree to here, this degree there. Somebody's putting something in the pipeline, and so that it has power to go and all that. We all got to work together and try to get through this thing. And I hear what you got, because there's history. The government messed it up, no doubt about it. And took the money and all that. You know, that's what it was about, taking the money. We understand that the school system was doing real well. That, you know, the thing about it is, you know, 30 years ago, I was doing well. 10 years ago, I was doing better. Right now, I'm doing worse than I did 10 years ago. And so the history does not work for me. It's what's got to go on now. What do I do for myself now? I got to eat. I got to be able to get to pay my bills. And I should be. And so I'm just saying to you is this history ought to tell us, give us some idea of what we need to do for the future. And that this thing doesn't, as the Jewish people would say, that this would never happen again. And so I'm just saying to you is that how do we move forward with this, without hearing this thing about the fact is that we're the worst in the nation. Again, I just don't like that kind of talk. And I'm sure you don't like it either. But I'm just saying to you is that we come in ranked number 32 out of 50-some cities with 32, so we're not the worst. But that's what the headline says. And, of course, we're not the best either. But my point is that what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I think someone's already indicated that. And then sometimes I says about it, is it really about the money? If I'm able to write a check and give the school system the money that they need, all the money that they need, is it really going to help education to where our children will be the best in the city, in the nation? Will we be the best? If I give them the money, all the money, will they be the best? There's some people. There's some districts that gets $19,000 per kid, $19,000 per child, You know, obviously, in Bloomfield Hills, the portion that they get for their children, than we get for those here in the city of Detroit. Why can't all districts and all students have the benefit of having the same for everybody? Why do we have to have a first-class school system and a second-class school system and a third-class school system and a fourth-class school system in the same state or in the same area? Why do we have the same? Why aren't my children just as good as the kids in Bloomfield Hills? And the way we basically support school system through this tax base and all, why? I mean, this is what we need to start talking about. Why aren't my children just as important as the children in Bloomfield Hills? We both got to compete for the world. And so in the world, so I'm just saying to you is that should that not be something that this country would be? How in the world can you got all this money for athletes and all this money for so many other things that we do, and don't have enough for our children, don't have enough for our teachers, don't have enough. You got schools in Birmingham arguing over a swimming pool, arguing over football, where we have a brand new football stadium, a brand new pool, and we're talking books. We're talking about books, toilet paper. And I'm just saying to you, my sisters and brothers, that this is the kind of things that we need to start talking about, how we basically educate, how we basically supporting our school system. In addition to that, I think that we ought to make sure every child in urban America in particular, every child goes to Head Start. Every child goes to preschool. Every child goes to kindergarten. Every child goes to the first grade. Every child. And at the third grade, every child basically is given an exam or evaluation. It's to see whether or not. Do you know, my sister and brother, that right now, as I understand it, I may be wrong, but as I understand it, that the school system don't have the money to give eye exams to our children. It was so if the children have not had their eyes an examination of their eyes, then maybe some of them can't see. You know, I mean, all I'm saying to you is there are reasons why we are where we are, and it's not because our kids are not smart, or our kids can't do the work and can't do what other people do. It's because they don't get the same foundation. The Jewish people, my sister and brother, they have a parent-toddler program that basically, when a child is 18 months old, they start teaching that child. 18 months. 18. Do you listen? The Jewish families start teaching their children at 18 months. But the parent is basically, it's called a parent-toddler program. All I'm saying to you is, these are the things that we ought to be talking about, you know, and how are we going to do? How are we going to support our children? And obviously, the home situation, you know, the culture. And now what y'all want to talk about now is having recreation marijuana coming to Michigan and urban in Michigan period, recreation marijuana. And I can't get the people get jobs because without the recreation marijuana. What you think is going to look like with recreation marijuana? It's like an oxymoron. We're fighting against ourselves. You know, and I'm just saying to you, our kids are going to go to school high, and they're going to have marijuana breaks. And so it's almost like we're fighting against ourselves if we do something like this. I understand that the poll says we're like 55% of people want recreation marijuana. You know, and this is and some politician says something about we ought to have it so we can fill up our potholes. The money would go to potholes. You destroy the culture, destroy our kids for potholes. My sisters and brothers, you know, sometimes, you know, you feel like you just want to just throw up or give up. You know which one to do, because this stuff, in my humble opinion, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, we can't even get the kids can't get the jobs because they won't give up marijuana, and it's not even legal. And so we're gonna make recreation marijuana available in Michigan, and so now you not only can't get a job, you ain't gonna do well at school. And that's all we're going to do is throw alcohol at our children, marijuana at our children, all kinds of stuff, pornography, everything at our children, and think that we're going to be able to compete with this world, compete with others, with other cultures. Caller, thank you for your patience. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Rev Holley.
Yeah, okay.
And thank you for that geography lesson in terms of where Dr. Vitti came from. Like you said, he came from Florida. And I want to say he came from the Miami-Dade County area, and I could be wrong. But we both know he came from Florida and not Louisiana.
Right.
Okay, that aside. Now, in terms of education, everything starts at home. I mean, from the time a woman is impregnated, they should be taking care of that child, because everything from the air they breathe to the food they eat and everything in between in there passes through that child when that woman ingests it. So if you're doing drugs, that baby's doing drugs. Okay, you understand where I'm coming from?
Sure.
And I mean, during the process of development, those drugs hamper development. So, if you're going to do it right.
Gotcha.
And also, like I said, and they were talking about the reading scores in terms of this. I think it was the NAEP test.
Yeah.
Where third, fourth graders and the eighth graders finished together. Reverend Holley, children should be read to before they come to school. And children should also read to us, meaning the parents. And, this thing about wanting to lay blame at teachers' feet, I'm not buying that. Yeah. Because when I say we, talking about parents, we are the first line educators. Okay. A child should be educated before they go to school.
Gotcha.
And therefore, and don't get me wrong, I understand that we were all not endowed with the same amount of intelligence. But don't just send a kid to school blind, to use that term, because it's going to take a lot more to make them be able to see.
Yeah.
But you give them some sight, some vision, meaning a foundation that's there before the child gets to school.
Gotcha. Thank you, my friend.
And as far as this medical marijuana, I hope it makes it to the ballot, all right? Because if it does, we can possibly get a whole lot more than the Republicans from out of the House up there, okay?
Okay.
But I know it's going to pass, but I'm not going to vote. I'm going to vote against it. Because just like you just said, you got folks who are having a difficult enough time going, and when they pass, hired for the job, to be hired because of substance, all right? It's not legal right now. And I mean, once this thing is legal, those companies, they set policy and procedures, meaning that you cannot operate machinery, high on marijuana or alcohol for that matter, or whatever else it is.
Right.
And so, like you said, it's an oxymoron. You're fighting against yourself. Yeah, you can go out here and legally get blowed, but when you go to the job, it's a whole different situation.
Right, right. Thank you. And see, the thing about it is that you don't have to be high to not to go to work. If they ask you for a sample, then I'm just saying to you is, if you call it, you're in touch. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Quick follow-up.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I want to also thank you for this community roundtable interactive discussion. But it's all about design. You're right. This marijuana thing coming through here in a community that pretty much destitute with opportunities. It's not good. Marijuana, alcohol, all that could be left to responsible adults that can handle it, all that kind of stuff. But throwing it on a bunch of youth and young adults is the craziest thing I ever heard of. And these initiatives across the country, they're being financed by rich folks, not the people from the hood. We ain't got no money for those initiatives all on the ballot and all that kind of crap. But I want to say one thing about Southwest Solutions. I don't know that much about that group, but I know that they have done some great work all over the city.
Okay.
I know some young adults that went to their training program a couple months ago. They got jobs now in Marathon and IKEA and all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Young adults who were kind of gave up on even becoming part of our market, but they're working, and I think it's important that one of the best educational pieces an individual can get is establishing relationships with people and getting an overview of how the system works, how you fit yourself into it.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the show.
Thank you so much for the call. Again, I'm not against anybody getting the money. If I'm saying that, I didn't mean this. I'm not. That's. But you got institutions like Wayne County Community College. If the other schools in Flint and these other places in other cities, the schools were used with the money. Why? When I talked to Dr. Ivory, he wasn't aware of it. He wasn't aware of it. And I'm just saying to you is that my sisters and brothers, that we, caller, you help me out. How are you this morning?
Rev Holley.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm a retired DPS educator.
Yeah.
I taught science, secondary science.
Okay.
And during 2000, I did. It was a Saturday morning tutoring program at East Lake Baptist, up in Cunningham.
Yeah.
That's where I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 2000. And that was an effective program because I tutored chemistry, biology, and I really believe we need to have more tutoring after school tutoring, like the UGMA program in 2000.
Okay.
And like this would be before the internet. So the internet it's really no excuse because sometimes I shop in Dearborn and I'm around the Middle Eastern population, and I observe their children. Some of the schools and some of the programs they have, in the Dearborn community. So we have to do better. We really have to do better. And I also, with the NAACP here in the city, I've observed the AXO program, which is really effective.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, my friend. Thank you for the call. Okay. Caller, you're in touch. How are you this morning? Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Holly.
Yes.
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I've been listening to you, and it concerns me that you talk about how uplift you. However, when Young was running against others, just really talk about newspaper. It wasn't optimistic. You talked about him. You didn't support him. You talk about they take us over, and they being. But why is it that you talk about a young man who did so much for the state, and you come on the air and we keep tearing each other down? It starts from our past. However, you went to speak that, and that was so unfair. And don't you also own charter schools? Talking about charter schools, don't you make a lot of money off of these young, uneducated kids? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. I probably need you to call back because there's some criticism of me, I think is what you were saying about, but we didn't hear it very well, and because you're breaking up, and I apologize. I was hoping that it got better, but it didn't. If you want to call back and see what you said, I have my engineer would take your call right away because I didn't hear it, and I don't want you to think I'm not going to hear it because of it's critical of me, but which is fine because I need to know if whatever it is you're saying, I need to make sure I can do better by what you're saying, and consider that to be a constructive criticism. So please call back because we just didn't really hear you because you were broke up. Yes, you're in touch. How are you this morning?
I'm fine. How are you, Rev Holley?
Just fine. Thank you for calling.
Good. I think that we have enough blame to go around, and I say some of our teachers, knowing where these children come from, the homes that they are coming from, they don't get enough love from our teachers. That's what I've been seeing. And I've been seeing, too, that a lot of our teachers have degrees in criminal justice. That's not equipped. I mean, back in the day, I finished high school at 16. I went to Benedict College, and I was going to major in elementary education. We had to have a course in human growth and development, knowing the child psychology and adult psychology. And I see now that these teachers don't know these children, whereas they should know them better, and they would know better how to deal with these children. When the kids come to school acting a fool, I'm going to say, the teachers act a fool too. I was stopped on national TV, on this station, one teacher said that he couldn't throw the kids in the hallway. And the kids was out of order. He said to the children, and I know many can voice my sentiments, he said, get your asses where you need to go. I was like, oh my God, I can believe that. My grandkids were here, my great-grandkids at the door everywhere. And this is all I'm saying. I think it's enough blame to go around. Our teachers, a lot of them are not ready. So I think that we need to make sure our teachers are ready to teach our children. And they'll be able to show these kids more love, and these kids will do better. Thank you for taking my call. That's what I had to say this morning.
And thank you for the call. Thank you very much. Call you in touch, are you, this morning?
Yes, good morning, Reverend Holley. How are you?
Just fine, thank you.
Yes, okay. I have some good news for you when it's pertaining to the children. The Matrix Human Services. If you live in the 48208 zip code, if you go up to Tabernacle Church, that's at Grand River and Dexter, they are taking babies, because I call them babies. The Head Start prior to kindergarten offers your child important classes experience along reading and writing. So with that being said, there are programs out here, Reverend Holley, and what I'm going to do, and I'll say it again, I'm the young lady called in every week with the job. I'm going to start researching, and we're going to do better by our children. Now, they do have a program for the East Side, but I couldn't pull it up. But next week, I will be more than glad to call your show and give that information out. And as today at 1 o'clock, from 1 to 3 at St. Paul's Tabernacle Church on Southfield at Grand River, Judge Deborah Thomas will be giving her expungement. So if anyone needs an expungement off their record from 5 years and back, come up there. I will be there giving our job, and I will be helping with the young men, young women, whomever, fill out a resume and go and help them with jobs. And that's my work that I'm doing for the community for free.
Very good. Thank you for that. Caller, thank you for your patience. Sorry this morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, brother. Talking about literacy. You know, Michigan State Supreme Court said that it is not a mandatory right to educate our kids. Let's understand, we had emergency management. They changed the curriculum a little, where they redefined a special interest kids learn. When you misdirect teaching, you do not have benefit of having a broad education. They define it, redefine it. Okay, we got to get together and we have to make our people come together because there's only going to be so many that we can reach. We can only reach the ones that can reach, but we have to try to organize. If we don't organize, the marijuana potheads are going to be running the. Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you for the call. Caller, you in touch early this morning? Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
This is the first I called
Okay.
before. Can you hear me now?
I can. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Reverend.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate the show. What I had mentioned is that you were saying that we as a people don't support us and how we are up to each other. It does start from us down and our. And what I had mentioned that what supported Senator Coleman yesterday. This young man done so much for the state
Oh, God, that's you.
of Michigan.
I got you.
And that's my concern. And I just remember that about this young man, the newspaper, they asked about him when he was running for mayor again,
Yeah, right.
who doesn't care and does not care for poor or for people of color.
I got you.
It's obvious.
Okay.
That's one of my first. My second question is, my son attended charter school. He lasted only 2 months there because it just was the right thing for him. It felt like it was just a battle. So, as an owner of several charter schools, what are you doing to help our young children to competitive in this very competitive market?
Right.
Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for calling back. It's about 13 minutes to the hour. First of all, I don't have any charter schools. In 2008, I was chairman of the board of a charter school that I founded called Detroit Academy of Arts and Sciences on Jefferson. And when I had the stroke, it was a severe stroke, and so I resigned from everything I was doing but the church. But since then, I've have nothing to do with a charter school. I don't own a bunch of charter schools. I don't own not one. Or am I on a board of any charter school? I am not. But what I'm doing, obviously, is trying to do everything I can to help all education, whether it's charter or whether it is public schools. My emphasis right now is on public schools, and so, at 74 years old, with more years behind me, I'm doing everything I can in the years that I have before me to really just help children, and regardless what school they're in, I just want them to do the best and be the best. And obviously, right now, my emphasis and my priority is the Detroit Public School System. What I think they changed the name, Detroit Public Community Schools, I think is what it is now. But whatever that is, that's my. I met with Dr. Beatty and a couple of his people, and to ask what can I do to help. As a minister, what could I do to put other ministers together to see what we can do to help? And so I'm waiting for some direction from them as to whether or not what I can do to help. There are some programs, there are some proposals that I gave them that I thought I could help. There's about 3,000 to 4,000 or 5,000 kids that have dropped out of school. I like to see what we can do to get them back in school. and not through a charter, but just get them back in school. And that's, I've done those things before, and I'm very proud of what I was able to do with it. So I'm just saying to you, is if somebody told you that I own a bunch of charter schools, I do not. I don't even serve on a board of any charter school, but I am interested in all schools, and especially the one at Randolph, which is a career school, but also Wayne County Community College. I just have a love for the culture down there, and so I do everything I can to try to make sure that I get kids into the Wayne County Community College District. So that's where it is, and so again, but I do appreciate the call. I appreciate how you asked the questions and was concerned, and I appreciate that very much. With the respect that you gave me, I really appreciate that very, very much. Call you and touch her this morning. Good morning. Call you in touch.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm sorry. Doctor, I'm calling back because of the basket. What about your support for COVID? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And if, again, like I said, it was just a choice of what I thought was best. And it's not against Coleman Young Jr., but I'm just saying to you, it's a choice. And that I felt like that the city, and I don't regret it at all. I think that the city is doing very well. Obviously, we got a lot of challenges, but also my sister and brother, we got a majority African Americans on the board, on the trying to keep city council. And so you got a checks and balance there. We got a police chief that's black. We got a city clerk that's African American. We got, we're very well represented, and certainly my sister, but I just felt like that, and still do, and it's not against anybody. It wasn't against Coleman Young Jr. He was at my church. He spoke, and spoke eloquently, and gave me as much time. Gave me a short period of time, but he went over that time, and I didn't say nothing because out of respect for him, out of respect, he's a senator, out of respect of his father, out of respect for his mother, and so. But it was just a choice that I made, and you will be for the most part, you would basically I would be critical of choices in the future. But it is what we do, and why we do what we do. And again, my sisters and brothers, I sit here and I try to be as transparent as I possibly can with you. I don't try to basically have any hidden agenda. Obviously, a lot of people say a lot of things about me, and much of it is not true. But I can't deal with that. I cannot be responsible for that. I just do what I can do, and I love God. I love God. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus Christ, and I'm not perfect, but I try to live as a Christian. I try to live with honesty and integrity, and nobody can doubt my love for African Americans. And I'm not against anybody, but I love as African Americans, and so I'm just saying to you, I don't know what else I can say to you in regards to the question or your concern. Again, if you, all I can say, it was just a choice about who's going to be mayor. And again, my sister's brother, now he's running for, I think he's running for congressman. And so again, hopefully that he will have an opportunity to state his case for that as well. And I'm not against him, or will I be against him running something like that? It's about 40 or 50 people running, and so it is what it is. And we just, and all of them will be African American except for one. And so I'm just saying to you is that that's just the way it is, just the way it is. And I don't mean to go out like this, but again, like I said, I got a funeral to do later on in about an hour, and I want to make sure that I don't get all discombobulated. And then I have another program to go to before I go and get ready for Sunday. But I'm just saying to you is that I appreciate your calls. I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your giving me an opportunity to have this dialogue with you and understand that we're all interested in what's best for the city of Detroit. And certainly when it comes down to the city, it comes down to our education situation. And so I'm just saying to you, my sisters and brothers, that we all got to work together. We can disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable. And this is where and I think this is what makes it so interesting, and so that we can indeed make a difference in this community. But for anything, they need to make a difference for the future. And I'm telling you, Detroit is moving. My concern is that Detroiters are not moving with Detroit. Thank you so much. We thank God for each and every one of you. And remember, I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
I will say a little prayer for you, and I will always care for you. Hello, Detroit.